Only mode.
Hi everybody, welcome. We're now ready to begin our webinar, The Mobile Workforce, Oh, the Places You'll Go. I'm Virginia with Rutgers Executive and Professional Education, and I'll be your host and moderator for this webinar. Rutgers EPE is the proud sponsor for today's webinar, and we're very happy to include this HR management topic into our webinar series. We formally allotted 30 minutes for this webinar. We encourage everybody to send us your questions throughout the presentation, and to do so you will use the questions box and press send, and we will respond to all questions at the end of the webinar. The webinar is being recorded, and a link to the archive recording will be emailed to you by early next week. It's now my pleasure to introduce our instructor, Dr. Deborah Waddill. Dr. Waddill is the Director of Leadership Courses for the George Washington School of Medicine and Health Sciences, and also instructs for Rutgers EPE in the Master's Certificate NextGen HR program. Deborah speaks regularly on topics pertaining to leadership and HR technologies, and is the author of the handbook, The EHR Advantage. Deborah, please take it away.
Hello, and I'm so glad to have you here today. Thank you for attending. I'm going to be talking today about the mobile workforce and the places you can go with this wonderful technology that's just burgeoning right in front of our eyes. The purpose of this session is to identify emerging mobile technologies and their impact on human resources, analyze best practices for a mobile policy in the workplace, and examine your role as a change agent and leader in light of the opportunities available through workforce mobilization. I want to give a little disclaimer at the beginning because some of my slides will be text heavy and it's purposeful. I want you to be able to look back on this and then remember the context and the specifics so that you can use these slides yourself. And I'm going to start with wearables, a couple of wearables that are hitting the workplace and are very valuable. They are the use of drones and mobile apps. But I'm going to drill down on wearables, and we're going to talk about specifics regarding their business applications, the legal ramifications, policies, etc., to just give you a kind of example of how we handle this in the course that is a subset of the NextGen HR. So mobile technology is so important and growing in relevance. I had some stats that I was going to present to you, but in the last 4 days, these two white papers came across my desk directly relevant to HR mobile technology, and so I thought I'd kick it off with what Josh Bershen at Deloitte said on July 22nd, 2016. We have been following the HR technology marketplace for almost 20 years now. That's Deloitte. And I believe we are entering a period of change and disruption unlike ever before. The explosion of mobile platforms, analytics, artificial intelligence, video, and of course the expansive growth of the social platforms is totally redefining the way we work. And then, more recently, this morning, Forrester Research offered a white paper saying the following: according to Forrester Research, more than 50% of searches happen on mobile devices, and U.S. consumers spent more time with mobile apps than watching TV in 2015. Yet, most companies are still under-investing in mobile and app experiences. So the reason why Rutgers has endorsed this as a component of their HR NextGen program is that mobile technologies are redefining the workplace. UNESCO defined mobile technologies as recently as 2015, so UNESCO's is the United Nations Education, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. They define mobile devices as e-readers, personal digital assistants, smartphones, MP3 players, and mobile phones. But in the last couple of years, the very definition of mobile technologies has exploded, as I said, into these emerging mobile technologies. And what they are, I'm going to talk about three categories, as I told you. First is appification. The second is drones, very controversial, but still a mobile app and, or excuse me, a mobile technology. And the third will be wearable. So as I said, I'm going to talk a little bit about appification and drones and then drill down on wearables. The increasing number of applications that make services and tasks, etc., available on mobile devices has really increased. And so let's just talk about what a definition of mobile apps are. They're where users handpick what their devices are able to do using a piece of software called an app. The simplest mobile apps take PC-based applications and make them accessible to a mobile device. Robust mobile apps are developed specifically for the mobile environment, taking advantage of both its limitations and advantages. And the source, as I'll show you throughout, is my sources. This is techopedia.com, 2016. There are a lot of mobile apps that are directly relevant to human resources, and I'm just going to talk about 12 of them, right? List them here. The ability to scan resume, source, and screen candidates by taking pictures, parse those pictures, send them to an applicant tracking system, all using your mobile device. Job posting apps that record posting a hiring message from a smartphone. Social network spanning. Candidate video interviews that are streamed or recorded are now conducted using mobile devices. Vendor HR apps include, and so by vendor I mean a software producer that has an app that will allow you to access their software. There are apps for job requisitions and comments on hiring decisions, the mobile organization chart, tools for analyzing workforce trends using performance metrics and predictive analytics. And then there's other HR apps as well, such as time and attendance, mobile worker health account checks and transactions, mobile filing, performance feedback apps, management access to pay stubs, check payments, approved time cards, access company directory, that's a subset of Workday's Rackspace. So the mobile applications are proliferated and have been exploding in terms of the number of apps and their direct relevance to HR. Using mobile applications has many benefits for the HR professional. It can improve employee engagement because most employees are carrying their own mobile devices and they can use those devices then to do work easily from any location. More managers have direct access to data for decision making through these mobile apps, and it provides an ability to attract top talent through mobile recruiting strategies, which I listed on the previous slide. It expands HR services through these mobile applications so that they're available to the mobile devices and much more user-friendly for the employees. More use results in higher value from the investment, and by that I mean that as you invest in mobile applications and a mobile strategy, you end up getting more cost benefits as a result. So let's talk about one emerging mobile technology, and that's drones. We all think we know what a drone is, but let me just define it. It was defined as autonomous aircraft. It's now slang for anything without a human pilot on board, but the FAA refers to a drone as an unmanned aerial system. So why would HR be interested in drone uses? The applications that I see in the literature is for if you've got a large campus, a pharmaceutical campus or an IT campus or any business campus, you can use drones for delivery of items, and that's being done even at present. Monitoring on-the-job performance, recording behavior for training purposes, these are some common uses that are intuitively obvious about the use of drones. Monitoring properties and employees to protect against unauthorized use or damage to the employer's property. So drones are a mobile device, and so are mobile applications. Let's talk specifically about wearables, because they're hitting the workplace by storm. This graphic comes from experthr.com, which is a legal HR organization, and they specify here in this graphic just how invasive, I would say, or ubiquitous, you could say, wearables are in everyday life. Everything from smart eyewear to moisturizing jeans. I don't even want to think about Durex underwear. But workplace wearables have HR applications, and I'm going to talk about 6 of them, starting with the virtual reality headset. We've got virtual reality headset, and I'll tell you its relevance in a moment. I'll talk about the Xperia ear set, the smartwatch, the fitness tracker, smart glasses, MYO armband. These are just 6 wearables that are directly relevant to HR. And in what way? Examples of how HR uses wearables. The virtual reality headset can be used for simulation and employee training, especially if you have a dangerous environment or something that could be of danger to the employee in the training process. The virtual reality headset, it fits on their head, and it gives them a surround view of the simulated environment in which they can practice specific behaviors, etc. The Xperia ear device is a Bluetooth device that's connected to a smartphone, but it can be used for a personal assistant. As a personal assistant, it can provide directions, it can give you your calendar, it can give you your to-do task list, and it's especially useful for people who are on the go all the time. For instance, a sales executive or maybe a delivery person. So both ends of the spectrum can benefit. It's particularly useful when you have a task that needs to be hands-free. The smartwatch has taken the business place by storm, and it can be used to monitor business goals and track employee progress, because you can access certain software systems such as Salesforce.com. An account executive could access that through a mobile app that's on their wearable smartwatch. And there are other business software apps available to the smartwatch user. I had a student in one of my classes who used fitness. Her HR department used fitness wearables for the purpose of reducing healthcare costs to the organization. This is how they did it. They set up a wellness competitions between teams of employees, all of whom had gotten a fitness watch, or excuse me, a Fitbit, and they went through certain activities during the day, counting their number of steps, etc. They had set thresholds. The organization had set thresholds for everyone on each team, and the team that was the top performing team, after they collected all that data, was given special rewards, and she actually was on the team that won. And it was wonderful for 2 purposes: one, building employee engagement, and 2, creating a fitness environment within the workplace that was fitness friendly. Smart glasses are another wearable that is used frequently. They can free up both your hands, and they can be used to view what the surroundings are for the employee, and in so doing avoid employee physical hazards of some sort. They're being used in a number of different ways to record video and also take pictures of what the employee is encountering, and it's being used in the field of medicine, these smart glasses, for surgery, such as surgery that is being done through laparoscopy, and it shows up on a screen that is capturing what the physician is seeing, the surgeon is seeing through the smart glasses. The MYO armband is an interesting wearable that allows you remote control of your keyboard, and it also has medical applications. For presenting, many people are using this MYO armband with two taps of the finger, two fingers. You can activate this remote control of your keyboard. And the reason it's interesting in terms of medical applications, that again in surgery, with laparoscopic surgery, you can activate the screen. The surgeon, without touching anything, can actually expand or contract the particular aspects or point to different aspects on the screen during surgery, and still maintaining a hygienic environment. Embedded in most of these wearables is a GPS technology, and that allows you to track employee and equipment location, and it's another side effect of using these wearables. The potential benefits of these wearables are enhanced productivity, because people are still working with hands-free in a variety of environments, improved customer service, faster reaction using these headsets, decreased injury incidences, improved data and transaction accuracy. For instance, in the Fitbit, you're getting exact data about heart rates, etc., that actually has no third-party intervention. Quicker solved issues, because you get access to software such as in Salesforce.com. An account executive could access information about a client using his smartwatch or her smartwatch, and get information and resolve issues, any issues that might have emerged regarding a client, or even to get the contact information and the specific people within the organizational hierarchy. Information is accessed on the go, and increased employee satisfaction, because again, as I told you on the second screen, people are using these wearables outside of the workplace at a burgeoning rate that is just astronomical, and so in their private lives they're using wearables. Why not use them in the workplace as well? And improved employee engagement. You involve more employees through use of a technology that everybody's using. There are laws that are relevant to wearables in all of the emerging mobile technologies. Video monitoring laws, audio recording laws that differ by state, data storage laws, what happens to the data that's collected, who can access it, etc. Right to privacy laws, and an example of that is, let's say someone was wearing these glasses, the smart glasses, and went into a location in a locker room or something that would be an abrogation of privacy. National Labor Relations Act, which protects employees' rights to certain activities, so you have to keep that in mind. And be aware of how that that impacts the employee's right to record and take photographs, etc. HIPAA, Employee Equal Opportunity Commission. So each of these laws has implications for wearables and for these emerging mobile technologies. So what you have to do with any technology is to do diligence. Make sure the technology, in this case wearables, satisfies the needs that you can communicate to the employees. Evaluate the existing conditions in the workplace to gain an understanding of facts and circumstances that could affect and be affected by the implementation of wearable or mobile technology. Determine the best means of communicating policies to employees. So once you determine that this is a good fit for your employees, then how to get the information out there so that people start using these mobile devices. It's all a matter of communication. Are you going to use a handbook? Are you going to use bulletin boards? Are you going to use text messages or emails? That should be part of your due diligence phase. Be sure that you're aware of and going to follow federal, state, and local laws, and create a policy that complies with those, and then create a training plan on the policies and also on the use of the mobile devices. Always monitor the rule and regulation changes. There's a lag now between the law and what people are doing with mobile devices, and so the laws are going to be changing, and they'll change quickly, so it's something to keep aware of. When you introduce a new technology, of course you have to make a statement and clear policy statement regarding the issues and the scope of the use of these devices. So in any mobile technology policy, the components that are necessary include when the technology may be used, how the technology may be used, very specific, who may use the technology, and how to deal with data storage and dissemination. The policies that you write must address these 4 primary components. And experthr.com, the organization I mentioned earlier, is very clear about policy components, and they also give examples of and templates for policies, statements regarding mobile technology and other HR technologies as well. The mobile technology landscape is rapidly changing. It's as if we're caught in whitewater, as Peter Vail said. It's a chaotic sometimes environment that we need to be ready to tackle, but with the proper tools. And in any changing environment, you have to have a strategy, a plan for implementation. And I'm not going to drill down on this, but Cotter wrote a seminal work called Leading Change, which he reprefaced in 2012, which specifies how to deal with any major change effort. But what I would like you to take away from today is that if you choose to embrace mobile technologies, which it only makes sense to do, I hope I've built a logical case for the use of mobile technologies in the workplace, what you'll find is that you yourself become the champion of that major change effort, and you yourself become what we call a change agent. So how does one go about doing that? Well, first you role model use of the technology yourself, and then you foster an understanding and conviction that this technology is important. It will assist the employees in doing their work. It's beneficial, and you're convinced of that. And be sure that you have reasons to convince others of the same. And then reinforcing the use of the mobile technologies with the establishment of formal processes. I can't understate the importance of having processes in place for using these technologies, and that you work through those processes logically and formalize them in writing. And then the use of these technologies for developing talents and skills, so that you can champion the technology by showing people how to behave in a new way that is beneficial to them in the workplace. So in this very brief overview, I've talked about what technologies, mobile technologies are available, how can we use those technologies for HR purposes, what are the components of a mobile technology policy, What measures must I take to champion mobile technology? But you may still have remaining questions. For instance, why use HR technologies at all? How do you design an overall technology strategy? What are the legal issues for these technologies and others as well? If you would like answers to these questions and others related to the broad range of current technologies for HR, may I recommend the Rutgers University Master's Certificate NextGen HR. This is a powerful program tailored specifically to the next generation of HR technologies, and one that I'm firmly convinced is of value to any HR professional. These are some of my references from today, and if you return to this recording, I want you to see where the information comes from. I use a lot of white papers from Forrester and McKinsey and other Deloitte, other large consulting firms, as well as HR sources like HR magazines. And so now I'll submit it to you. If you have any questions that you would like to ask, I'm available for your questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Deborah. This was a great presentation, and some of the questions from the participants are coming in. So our first question is, what are the benefits and pitfalls of a business policy of bring your own devices with regard to mobile technology?
Yes, that's a really good question, because mobile devices users want access to things like email, Microsoft applications, and the virtual private network. And the advantages of bring your own device for management is to get out of the equipment business, basically. But there are some drawbacks to those, because you will have to invest in mobile device management software, and there's a lot of security questions around bring your own device. So perhaps, for instance, who can access what data and why and when and where, and what happens if the device is lost. So what I'm seeing right now in answer to that question is I'm seeing a lot of organizations embracing the bring your own device, again, so that they don't have to invest in the hardware. However, I do expect a move towards businesses providing those mobile devices so that they have more control of their use. I hope that answered your question.
Okay, great. Thank you. Our next question is, what do you see as the future for mobile HR technologies?
Yes, this is, as I've said, just a developing field that has a lot of applications. Mobile HR technologies have changed dramatically, as I said, in the last 3 years, frankly. And so we find that people are using them for feedback and employee engagement apps. I think that's the future going forward as we go for the continuous evaluation instead of the 2 times a year or once a year performance evaluation. You'll find that these apps and these mobile technologies are much more advantageous, and I predict that they are going to become more widely used for that purpose. And then, as I mentioned, I think more organizations are going to use these Fitbits and fitness mobile devices for wellness and productivity systems. I think that that's the new wave. Now, there is going to be some controversy over the data that's collected and what's done with that medical data, and that's where HIPAA comes in, and also other laws we need to stay current on. But I do believe that more organizations are going to move in that direction as the healthcare costs skyrocket. I think that more organizations are going to embrace telehealth as well, that's available through the use of mobile devices. And we'll see more laws regarding privacy and safety to enable use of drones in the workplace. And I think that wearables will become more commonplace. That's the future of HR, is that we're going to be dealing with wearables. We have to be prepared for that, and also be vigilant to create a policy that will foresee the future and the future use of mobile devices. And so you want to be sure that your policies keep abreast of that.
Great.
Any other questions?
We have one more question, and it's, you mentioned that HR professionals need to be change agents. I don't really think of myself as a change agent. Could you talk a little bit more about the reason for that role?
Yes. I will give a stat here that it's been consistent since the 1990s. Change efforts have a failure rate of about 70%. It's a well-known stat in change circles, people who are business transformation experts, and they get a lot of business out of that. And so the reason I think it's important to think of yourself as a change agent is because the environment for HR technologies is so ripe for the picking. I mean, there are so many terrific that you could actually call this age the digital HR age, because there are so many technologies that are available to us that will be cost savings, especially cloud-enabled ones. And so what we want to do is stay current and also champion the technologies that the organization has embraced and not fall victim to this stat of a 70% failure rate of the rollout of new technologies. So in the Next Generation HR program, we'll be talking about very specific ways that you can act as a change agent. But in lieu of that, I would also say that John Cotter's book, Leading Change, is an excellent document, an excellent text on, and it's also available in ebook, on the topic of how to be a change agent and to lead change effectively.
Thank you, Deborah. Okay, so that was our last question. If we could just go to the next slide, I'd like to tell everybody that this webinar has been approved for 1 business recertification credit through HRCI and 0.5 professional development credit through SHRM. So please contact me. My email is below or is there, and you should all have my email, and I will give you the codes for that. And as a thank you for attending today's webinar, we'd like to offer you a 20% discount on our Master's Certificate NextGen HR program. You can see the modules are listed there. Deborah teaches within this program. She teaches HR Goes Mobile and EHR. We offer this program in 2 formats. We have our 10-week evening program starting September 27th through December 6th. It meets once a week from 6 to 9 p.m. And then our 1-week accelerated program December 5th through December 9th. That's from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Please go to our website, epe.rutgers.edu, to register and use the discount code webinar 072816. And then we're asking you to save the date for our next webinar, which is Retaining Talent, Replacing Misconceptions with Evidence-Based Strategies. This is September 21st at noon. So you'll be receiving an email about this upcoming webinar from me shortly. So this concludes today's webinar. Deborah, thank you once again for this very informative presentation. Thank you again for everyone who has attended. Please feel free to contact me with any questions. We hope to see you at next September's webinar, and we also hope to see you in the fall for our programs. And again, for more information, our website is epe.rutgers.edu. Thank you.